The idea that a guardian angel is watching over each and every one of us can be an enormous comfort. Some people believe that their guardian angel is a spiritual being who looks out for their well-being, while others believe their guardian angel is a deceased loved one who is offering guidance. Rarely, people might hear a voice calling their name or warning them of danger, but many more feel guided by an inner or gut instinct, or feel a sense of reassurance and peace after asking for angelic support. If you are really lucky, your angel may begin to reach out to you on a regular basis. It's important that angels don't frighten us, and initially their approach may be very subtle. As any incident occurs, we need to assimilate that information, and get used to the idea that something paranormal or occult that is something unknown or beyond normal has happened to us. Once we've accepted and got used to the idea, often more contact occurs. Guardian angels don't all work in the same way. They seem to adapt their approach according to their personality or ours. Some angels are more hands-on than others. They like to make it clear that they are with us. Some are gentle and prefer to stand back and wait to be invited in. Most angels use signs to show us that they are with us. It's hard for them to manifest fully into our dimension. Their world is so different from ours. Our human eyes find it almost impossible to see them, so they use other tricks. In this video we count down 5 angels that have supposedly been captured in photographs. I'm not saying this is definitive proof that angels exist. I'm going to leave that for you to decide. If you was to see this car, you would think nobody came out of it. This quote is from Lynn Wotton, the cousin of the young man who did in fact come out of that car accident, and they believe it's all thanks to his guardian angel and the power of prayer. At first it seemed to be a coincidence that Pastor Michael Clary wound up driving behind the white Ford Explorer on the highway, but when the accident occurred it quickly became clear that this was actually a divine appointment. As the SUV began to veer off the road, the driver accidentally overcorrected, causing the vehicle to flip. According to a Facebook post by Pastor Michael, who witnessed it all, the vehicle rolled 4 times before going airborne and slamming into a tree, causing the driver to be thrown out of the passenger window. As the pastor watched the horrible scene unfold, he says he instantly went into prayer mode, asking God to protect the person involved. Because of how far off the road the Ford Explorer travelled during the crash, Lynn says that the pastor's presence was already a blessing. Lynn stated that if nobody had been behind him to see the accident occur, she doesn't know how long he would have been there. When the wrecker got there, he had to cut the first line of trees to attach it and pull the car out. It was so far in there. But Pastor Michael wasn't the only one God sent. It's also believed he sent a guardian angel. This photo was taken by the pastor at the scene, and when the crash victim's family took a closer look, they were amazed by what they saw. Lynn said the following: "You can see on the picture on the right hand side that the angel looks like he's actually knelt with his hands up praying over him." Lynn's cousin was airlifted into hospital and put into intensive care. He was treated for a punctured lung, as well as a broken collarbone and several broken ribs, but the young man made good progress and was released after a week. It was a dark November night in 1988. 58-year-old Rose Benvenuto was driving in eastern New York State near the border with Connecticut. She swerved to avoid hitting a stray dog and the airbag inflated. She couldn't remember much else after that. By the wreck of the car, it's difficult to imagine that anyone could have survived, let alone survive without a scratch, but Benvenuto did exactly that. She is convinced she wouldn't be alive if it weren't for divine intervention. She claims she saw a guardian angel come to save her. Sharon Boo, a photographer from the Pauling Fire Department, captured the angel in this photo. As a normal procedure, Sharon Boo photographed the wrecked car from several different angles, but it was only in one photograph that the unexplainable figure appeared. Sharon said the following: "I have taken hundreds and hundreds of photographs and I have never come across anything like this." The photograph contains a figure. You can see through the figure and still see the automobile. Both Sharon and Benvenuto believe that the image in the photograph is an angel who saved her life. Sharon said the following: "I feel she had an angel looking over her shoulder." The photograph has been looked at by 3 experts. There is no trace of any deception. The angel also appears on the negative of the film. Benvenuto said, "If someone says that this is a hoax, I would have to disagree with them. I am here and I survived that accident without injury. To top this, there is the proof in the photograph as well." Erin Potter had battled with cancer since first diagnosed with leukemia in 2007. After her cancer returned for a third time, she was preparing for a second bone marrow transplant. One day, Erin was playing out in the backyard with her sparklers when her mum took a photo. Nothing seemed out of the ordinary, but when she looked at the photo, she was shocked to see an angelic figure watching over her child. Just after the picture was taken, Erin successfully received her transplant, and is now completely cancer-free. 14-year-old Chelsea Bantam was suffering from multiple development disabilities, and has been in and out of hospital countless times. As pneumonia was taking over her life, her mother had to make an unthinkable decision. She asked her doctor to pull the plug on Chelsea's life machine, to end her years of pain and suffering. As she was praying by her side, the doctor pulled the plug. Remarkably, hours after the plug was pulled, Chelsea remained alive. The nurse at the station glanced at the monitor and noticed a man standing at her door. Thinking it was odd, she went out to see what he wanted, but he was nowhere in sight. She went back to the monitor and saw him again. She was confused by this, so she called over other hospital staff, and they confirmed they saw the same thing. So amazed by what they had seen, they indisputably agreed that what they saw was an angel that saved Chelsea's life. On September the 11th, 2001, 19 militants associated with the Islamic extremist group Al-Qaeda hijacked 4 airplanes and carried out suicide attacks against targets in the United States. 2 of the planes were flown into the towers of the World Trade Center in New York City. A third plane hit the Pentagon just outside Washington, D.C., and the 4th plane crashed in a field in Pennsylvania. Often referred to as 9/11, the attacks resulted in extensive death and destruction, triggering major US initiatives to combat terrorism and defining the presidency of George W. Bush. Over 3,000 people were killed during the attacks in New York City and Washington, D.C., including more than 400 police officers and firefighters. On September the 11th, 2001 at 8:45 a.m. on a clear Tuesday morning, an American Airlines Boeing 767 loaded with 20,000 gallons of jet fuel crashed into the North Tower of the World Trade Center in New York City. The impact left a gaping, burning hole near the 80th floor of the 110-story skyscraper, instantly killing hundreds of people and trapping hundreds more in higher floors. As the evacuation of the tower and its twin got underway, television cameras broadcasted live images of what initially appeared to be a freak accident. Then 18 minutes after the first plane hit, a second Boeing 767 appeared out of the sky and turned sharply towards the World Trade Center and sliced into the south tower near the 60th floor. The collision caused a massive explosion that showered burning debris over surrounding buildings and the streets below. As millions watched the events unfold in New York, American Airlines Flight 77 circled over downtown Washington, D.C., and slammed into the west side of the Pentagon military headquarters at 9:45 a.m. Jet fuel from the Boeing 757 caused a devastating inferno that led to the structural collapse of a portion of the giant concrete building. 125 military personnel and civilians were killed in the Pentagon, along with 64 people aboard the airliner. Less than 15 minutes after the terrorists struck the nerve center of the US military, the horror in New York took a turn for the worse when the south tower of the World Trade Center collapsed in a massive cloud of dust and smoke. The structural steel of the skyscraper, built to withstand winds in excess of 200 miles per hour, and a large conventional fire could not withstand the tremendous heat generated by the burning jet fuel. At 10:30 a.m., the other Trade Center tower collapsed. Close to 3,000 people died in the World Trade Center and its vicinity, including a staggering 343 firefighters and paramedics, 23 New York City police officers, and 37 Port Authority police officers who were struggling to complete an evacuation of the buildings and save the office workers trapped on high floors. Only 6 people in the World Trade Center at the time of their collapse survived. Almost 10,000 others were treated for injuries, many severe. Several police officers were tasked with shifting through the rubble of the World Trade Center towers in September 2001. Some of them went on to express how they encountered paranormal and angelic entities. One of the detectives mentioned hearing about a ghostly tale of an old Red Cross worker that appeared to some of the officers while they were working. The woman tried to serve them coffee and sandwiches, as this was the Red Cross duty during World War II. Upon hearing this story, police officer Frank Mara remembered seeing a black woman dressed in a Red Cross uniform appearing several times while he worked. She held a tray of sandwiches and disappeared every time he tried to get a better look at her. Several police officers who were also stationed at the site after the attacks claimed to have seen large shadows and black masses. After seeing a medium about his experience, a medium explained that he may have witnessed a soul collector. Also, during the attacks, many people stated they saw angelic beings near the buildings. So that was 5 angels captured in photographs. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to subscribe for more countdown videos.